Warning, the following podcast contains adult language, themes, and situations. Also, the film we're about to talk about is going to be spoiled thoroughly. Listener discretion is advised. Enjoy this show.
In the late 90s, Nicolas Cage's boyhood dreams of playing Superman on the big screen were sadly crushed by studio production hell when the ill-fated Tim Burton Superman Lives film failed to get made. But luckily for Nick, he'd get another chance. No, we're not talking about that creepy CGI cameo in The Flash. Hopefully we never have to talk about that. We're talking about the 2018 animated film Teen Titans Go! To the movies.
Okay, let's run.
I'm like a prickly pear.
What do you say we cut the chit-chat a-hole? Porker, how'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? Hey, have you ever been dragged to the sidewalk and beat until you pissed blood?
Welcome to One Cage at a Time, the show where we break down every single Nicolas Cage movie, one film at a time. Here are your hosts, Patrick, Vince, and Nigel.
In a world where every superhero ever created is getting their own blockbuster movie, the Teen Titans just want their shot at big screen immortality, but the fat cats in charge deem the teens unworthy. That is, until a supervillain named Slade uses mind control to take over the world, and the Teen Titans are the only ones who can stop him.
Let's see who's joining Nick on this adventure.
Teen Titans Go! To the Movies stars the whole... I'm trying to... How are you supposed to say this title? Teen Titans Go! To the Movies stars the whole host of voice acting mainstays, including Ezekiel from The Walking Dead Khary Payton, Miss Minutes from Loki and Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls, and Harley Quinn from Batman the Animated Series, and Timmy from Fairly Odd Parents, and, well, you get it, Tara Strong. Just throw a stick at a female character in an animated movie or animated show in the last 35 years, and she'll be it. Princess Bubblegum from Adventure Time Hyden Walch. Walch? Is it Hyden?
I think it's like Hayden Welch?
Yeah, they all have weird names. I mean, my sister's name is Hayden and is not spelled that way, so it threw me off.
Yeah.
Princess Bubblegum from Adventure Time, Hayden or Hyden Walch. Michelangelo from the newest Ninja Turtle show, Greg Cipes. The Boy Wonder himself, Scott Menville. And a whole host of star-studded cameos from the likes of Will Arnett, Halsey, Jimmy Kimmel, Patton Oswalt, Kristen Bell, Wil Wheaton, Little Yachty.
Wil Wheaton.
Little Yachty is in this.
Yeah, he's Green Lantern. The late, great Stan Lee, Nick's son, Kal-El Cage, and of course, the only Superman in our hearts, Academy Award-winning actor, Nicolas Kim Coppola, better known as Nicolas Cage.
Patrick, hit us with some stats, won't you?
Teen Titans Go! To the movies. I don't know. I mean, I think it's just a pun on the because it's Teen Titans Go is the name of the show.
Yeah,
and then they put Go to the something at every other movie that they did. This is the only theatrical release that they've done. The rest of them have been direct to TV, but yeah, it's kind of crazy that this is the only one that actually went to the movies. But it makes sense because it's Go to the movies.
Yeah.
Teen Titans Go! To the Movies was released July 22nd, 2018 at the Chinese Theater in Los Angeles, which is now called the TCL. It's not the Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I actually got to see Nick's footprints there. It's like
nice.
They put a barrier so that the frickin' stupid costumed assholes, the homeless assholes who like stand in front and like beg everybody for money the whole time, so that they couldn't block the entrance. But the barrier is right on top of Nick's handprints and fake prints, so I couldn't get a good picture of them. But yeah,
I'm gonna kick that barrier over.
But it was released wide on July 27th, just 5 days later, 2018. Had a budget of $10 million, but made $52.1 million. So 5 times what the budget was, which is substantial gross, really, if you think about it.
I can't believe it made that much money.
It's not terrible. It's just not for us. I feel like,
No.
but at the same time, it does feel like it's for us. It's definitely for kids, but with adults in mind. And I feel like it suffers from the same thing that I feel like a lot of animated projects suffer from these days, in my eyes at least, is it's just like so frenetic and ADHD that it just gets on your nerves after a while. It's like, just calm down and just tell a story for a second and then throw in the jokes. Like, not just joke.
But
flashing colors, lots of things happening. Flashing colors.
I went and watched some of the show after this, and it's true to the style of the show that got 8 seasons, so they did something right.
I mean,
popular
kids love it. Yeah,
right. Exactly. It's not for our generation. It's for the generation below us.
Though
and
it's funny as
definitely falls into that comedy standard that they created.
Yeah. It's funny though, because like a lot of older people seem to love these Teen Titans series as well.
I think they like the original Teen Titans series. I don't know. It's because it's not my cup of tea, but I don't think they like this version of Teen Titans. I think it really is a younger generation that grew up on it.
I've heard adults tell me that they love Teen Titans Go to the movies.
Well, adults also like fucking My Little Pony. Those adults should probably be in jail.
Honestly, I feel like the same crowd is going to get us canceled. I feel like
Jabronis, don't come after us, okay?
Who love Teen Titans Go to the movies are the same people who like bronies and stuff. Like I don't know.
100%. Like what you like.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
I truly believe like what you like. This isn't for me. I'm not going to judge you.
Yeah, 100%.
You probably won't like things I like.
You're definitely not going to like our show because it's not.
Yeah, the jabronis aren't watching this.
This was directed by Peter Rita McHale, I think is how you say his name. Has 2 directors, so Aaron Horvath is the other. As we've said many times while we've been doing these episodes, usually they divide it up into 2 camps. So you have an animated director who's kind of over the animators and the visuals of the film, and then you have the one that's over the performances and the actors and all of that stuff. So Peter Rita McHale has worked as a director exclusively on the Teen Titans TV series and the films that have come out since. There's been a few. I think there's like 3 or 4 films. There's a direct sequel that's teased in the post, in the middle of the credits in this one, which was Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans, which is, I think, like a multiverse thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that was like the original Teen Titans show.
The original show versus this show.
Yeah. Thank God Nick Cage is not in that, so we don't have to talk about it. But and then Aaron Horvath was actually the director of the Super Mario Brothers, which actually that new one, not the 80s one that we all love because it's such a piece of shit, but the new one that did really well. And then of course he's worked on all of the Teen Titans stuff. So I wonder if he's going to jump off and do bigger things now that he's obviously shown that he can bring in some box office with that Super Mario Brothers, which did way better than anybody expected, especially once we found out that fucking Star-Lord was going to be Mario.
But we've said it before. Kids don't care.
Yeah, kids don't care.
No.
And parents will go to kids' movies.
Yeah, they have to.
Just to get out of the house. Nigel can attest. Just anything to get out of the fucking house.
He doesn't even take the kids. He just goes by himself.
Yeah, how was Super Mario Brothers?
I haven't seen that yet, although I put it on Netflix, and my daughter seemed to like it. So she also likes Mario.
Give it a watch. So. They did a really good job with that property.
This was written by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic, who is a real jellicle cat who has written a ton of DC animated projects going back all the way to 2002. He's a jellicle cat.
Every time, dude.
Shot by no one, but edited by Nick Kenway, who did that 9 movie, the creepy ragdoll stop motion looking. Mm-hmm. What's that?
Wasn't Frodo in that movie?
I don't know.
Away from the Trust? I think he was. I think he was one of the voice actors in it.
I'm not sure. I always wanted to watch that movie, but then I just didn't. I don't know.
It looked like
like a Tim Burton movie to me.
Like a clone of and so I just expected it not to be good, and I never watched it. But I've heard good things.
I have heard really good things about it. That it's actually really good. But I've heard the same thing about Rango, and I still haven't watched that one either. So, I don't know. One of these days. On a international flight, one of these days, I'll end up watching that.
Right, those are what flights are good for.
Yeah, that's how I saw Independence Day too.
That's how I saw Hellboy. the reboot.
Watch it on my flight to Ohio in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Oh God, you might want to watch it while you're in Ohio, since there's nothing else to do.
I should watch it. I'm going to watch Dog Eat Dog while I'm there.
He also edited The Penguins of Madagascar, which did really well, I think, right? Those Madagascar movies were like printing money for a minute there.
Yep.
And Brother Bear 2, which I think also did pretty well. Though I don't think there's a Brother Bear 3, so maybe not.
I didn't even know there was a Brother Bear 2.
I didn't either.
Maybe it was a direct-to-video sequel.
Could be.
Seems like, yeah. And then music by Jared Faber, who is a composer for hire who's worked on a ton of random things since the 90s, but mostly he's worked on TV shows and kids shows and stuff like that.
He's like a Cartoon Network guy.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon guy, if I remember correctly.
Ratings. This is shocking, man. Rotten Tomatoes gives this film a 91%. 91%. See, that's what I'm saying is like, it seems like adults really like this movie too. Like, I actually, like I've said many times, the second time around, I enjoyed it more than I did the first time. But I just 91% of the critics, 7.2 out of 10 on 136 reviews. That's just mind blowing. I mean, I guess it has to get a 6 or a better.
Yeah.
Which I feel like, spoilers, my rating is probably going to be about a 6. So I guess that makes sense. But Jesus Christ, that's a high score for what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm jaded. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll save my opinion for the review so we can just keep chugging along.
Same.
I have some things to say. It's not going to be as harsh as you think, but it's just, I got my opinions on this movie and this type of humor, really.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not really my thing, but this I don't know, new audience that is just fucking addicted to 5-second videos on their phones.
Yes,
you got to keep them invested the whole time.
Yep.
Audience score though is a little more, I guess it's pretty much the same if you think about it, but it's 71%. So we had a 7.2 out of 10. Audience score is 71%. I don't believe that there's any kind of weight on the audience score. So it's basically the same. Mm-hmm. Metacritic 69%, which is really high for a Metacritic score. Anyways, IMDb 6.7 out of 10, which is a little more accurate, I feel like. And then Cinema Score was a B+.
Wow.
Which is pretty fucking harsh.
Yeah. With all of those scores, that's weird.
Yeah. With the
who the hell is going out of their way to see Teen Titans go to the movies opening weekend or whatever, and then
shit on
like it.
And then shit on it. Right.
I don't know, man.
I mean, unless it was, unless there was a lot of parents that just had to go because their kids wanted to see it, and then that skewed the numbers down.
They shouldn't be reviewing the fucking film.
Right.
They should be giving it an A+ for keeping their kids happy for an hour and a half.
I don't know. That is a really bizarre number.
Yeah. That's harsh. That's coming from me. That's harsh.
I mean, spoilers. I liked the movie, and I have no connection to this property whatsoever. So I haven't watched the show before and stuff like that. So that to me, that's really weird too. actively go see the movie and then not like it. I guess. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Or enough people not like it to drag the score down to a B+.
B+,
which is low for a cinema score.
For a cinema score that's really bad, which is shocking, especially with the 91%. I don't know. Yeah, it must be the adults. But at the same time, I feel like if you're an adult and you're coming to this, I feel like there's enough for you to enjoy the film.
Yeah. Again, I'll save it for my review because there's some things that I have to say about that.
Yeah, Vince is going to go off.
It's not going to be as bad as you think. But I'm definitely going to be a little critical of these people that scored it a B+ now that I know that, because holy shit, that's harsh. That's hard.
Pretty bad.
Especially if, like you said, like you're bringing your kids to this film. Like, be thankful that you were able to get them to something that they enjoyed. Might not be for you, but
you probably should enjoy at least some of it. I don't know.
Just enjoy that you're out of the fucking house and your kids are sat for a hour and a half. Jesus.
Yeah. I guess we'll get to it.
All right, it's time to break down the film one scene at a time. Act 1. Why don't we set some shit
Our
up?
colorful ADHD jaunt into the DC universe begins with the Teen Titans' signature joke per second formula and introduces us to the team, which consists, of course, of the minor and totally forgettable characters of Robin, Starfire, Cyborg, Raven, and Beast Boy, who are based in Jump City, which I don't know what's that supposed to be. Is that supposed to be next to Metropolis, or
I don't know. I don't have a lot of DC knowledge, so
is Metropolis supposed to be New York and Jump City's like New Jersey?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. We'll go with that. Yeah.
Or it could be near Gotham, which is like Chicago. Chicago. For some reason, my mind always conflates Detroit and Chicago. I don't really know why.
Pretty much the same place if you really think about it.
No, not at all. Jump City, though, has the great slogan of safer than Gotham, which I noticed that little joke.
Yeah. There's a lot of that in the background.
Yeah, a lot of background jokes. If you really go through it, they spent a lot of time on adding those little details, which is
a lot.
Nice little thing to add for the people who are forced to watch this fucking thing multiple times in a row.
It was like a restaurant called the Rorschach or something. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
What's up, Doc? And it's Dr. Manhattan with Bunny.
Oh, I didn't even see that one. Yeah. That's great.
There's a lot of nice Easter eggs in the background.
Yeah. I feel like Cyborg is now more of a mainstay character, like at least in the Justice League.
Yeah.
But that might just be because they put him in the new Justice League movies that are coming out, or that came out and were coming out.
I mean, I think he also got that because the actor got a lot of goodwill after the fact of what people had heard he had to go through with working with Joss Whedon and having like a lot of his role minimalized and cut out of the Justice League movie. And
pretty much all of his role cut out after you watch the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I have always, since I was a little kid, absolutely fucking hated Cyborg as a character. I just never liked it. I don't know why. But, yeah. I like Starfire and Raven and Beast Boy and Robin, but Cyborg
I just don't think anybody's really told a great story.
No, even in this show, he's like the joke character.
Yeah, he's a big character. He's a slapstick guy, yeah.
I mean, they're all just jokes nonstop, but Cyborg in particular,
Oh yeah.
At least for all his faults, Zack Snyder tried to actually kind of highlight him a little bit. It seemed like, and give him a bit of humanity to his character.
The film immediately sets the tone of being super vibrant and comedic, which is typical of the Teen Titans Go series from which it originates, which is a favorite of kids, teens, and man-children everywhere. Bronies. Let's just be honest.
We're doubling down. Fuck it. We double down.
The first fight we see is with some sort of giant balloon man. I'm not up on my DC comics since, aside from Batman, they haven't really made anything decent in like 30 years. So I'm not sure if this is a real character, what his actual character name is, or if he even exists outside of Teen Titans. I have no idea.
I don't either. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Given, well, I mean, everything else seemed to have been at least a bit from something in DC, so it's probably a character in something that's a joke that just highlighted as a, intro villain.
Well, it's funny, like when they pop him, he just turns into this little tiny balloon man. So, is he normally that? The Titans show up and slow down the balloon man by poking holes in him, which leads to like a minute-long fart joke. It's just every one of these animated films has had a fart joke of some sort or a butt joke.
Well, this one has lots.
This one's got lots of fart
Tons.
jokes. And poop jokes and everything in between. And when he doesn't know who the hell they are, they all bust out into a theme song, which explains all of their powers individually, which I think is the Teen Titans Go theme song, because they use it twice in this.
I think it's new for this movie. At least
is it?
The episodes I watched of Teen Titans Go, the show, didn't have them, but I only watched early episodes.
Is it? It's just like Teen Titans Go, Teen Titans Go.
Something like that, yeah.
Just like that, yeah. Bubble Man walks away while this is all going on and steals like half the city, which leads to the actual Justice League showing up and saving the day, since the Teen Titans are too goofy and immature to get the job done, which is the continuing theme throughout the movie.
He also calls them the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Funny.
Guardians of the Galaxy. This leads to the only reason we're talking about this thing. Nicolas Cage's Superman and a few of I think it's just Green Lantern and Wonder Woman show up.
Wonder Woman, yeah.
To tell the Titans they'll never get their own movies since they only make movies about real heroes. And then he calls them goofsters. Which, if it didn't come back later on, I'd be like, that's a Cage ad lib.
Yeah.
But that just feels like Cage just throwing shit out.
Yeah, that
You
feels
guys
like a Cage insult for kids.
Yeah, that feels like something he would have said to Kal-El, right?
Yep.
And that they will only ever be seen as jokes. Meanwhile, the teens make nonstop slapstick jokes the entire time, confirming Superman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern's point. Yada, yada, yada. The main conflict in Act 1 revolves around the Titans' desire for recognition as legitimate superheroes. None of this was written by ChatGPT, by the way. Despite their efforts to protect Jump City from various villains and threats, they are constantly overlooked and dismissed by both the citizens and the Justice League. This dynamic sets up Robin's central motivation throughout the film, which is the desire for a movie that will prove their worth as superheroes, but slowly devolves into Robin being a little attention-seeking whore who shits all over his friends the moment he gets a chance at fame. At a Batman Again movie premiere, which is a great name for the movie. We see a movie director named Jade Wilson show previews for upcoming movies about Alfred, Batman's butler, the Batmobile, his utility belt, etc. Basically, every inanimate object from the Batman universe gets a movie before Robin, which isn't far from the truth.
They made an Alfred TV show.
They made a fucking Penguin TV show, too.
Yeah, and the Penguin got a TV show.
I heard that Bane and Deathstroke are also going to get their own show or movie as well.
I mean, they're both more interesting than Robin, so
yeah.
It's funny. That's one of the things that I liked about this movie is they get it. Like they're making fun of themselves in a way that's, they get it. It's a joke. Make fun of Robin.
Yep.
Yeah. Baby hands.
Yeah.
Everyone laughs Robin out of the theater, including Superman, who you can just kind of hear him like calling out, he's just a sidekick. There's only like 10 lines from Superman at all, but they're all fairly solid.
Yeah.
The Teen Titans all reassure him that he's a true hero, and the reason that they're all alive and happy and not on dying planets and whatever other origin stories of those characters that I don't really care to look into. But Robin isn't satisfied, saying they need an arch nemesis in order to be taken seriously. Seconds later, we're introduced to Will Arnett's character, Slade, who for some reason can't be called by his actual name, Deathstroke, in the Teen Titans. Quick fact, in the comics, Slade's supervillain name is Deathstroke. This name has never been used in a Teen Titans cartoon, though. because it was decided that a character with death as part of their name should not be in a children's cartoon. However, he was referred to as Deathstroke in Lego DC Comics superheroes The Flash. An animated movie that was also marketed to children, which was released a few months before this movie.
And they joke about him being Deadpool. So
yes,
they say Deadpool.
They say Deadpool, but you can't say Death.
Deathstroke. It's weird. They also kill a tiger. Like they run over Michael Bolton tiger.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, they also kill baby Aquaman.
No, they don't. They save him in time.
They do.
They would have.
No, he dies, and then they go back and save him. They
come back
him.
and save him.
Yeah.
And then they kill Bruce's parents. So a lot of confliction here, you know.
Slade apparently has the power of mind manipulation, which he uses for a ridiculous effect in this scene, but later uses it to brainwash everybody on Earth, pretty much, aside from the Teen Titans. Anyways, he steals a crystal of some sort that he'll use later in the film to amplify his powers. Quick fact. The Teen Titans keep referring to Slade as Deadpool throughout the movie. Slade's alter ego in this movie is Jade Wilson. Deadpool's name is Wade Wilson. And Deadpool was created as a parody of Deathstroke originally from Marvel.
And Deathstroke's name is Slade Wilson. So
yes.
Yeah. Which he jokes about. I mean, they say it in the movie. He's like, I was made before Deadpool. He ripped me off.
Yeah. Which is true.
Yeah.
They all ripped each other off.
Yeah.
I was watching Across the Spider-Verse, and the Spot is basically a Rorschach ripoff. It's basically the same character, but with slightly different abilities. Anyways, this sets the stage for the Titans' quest to convince a Hollywood director to make a movie about them. All this despite the fact that none of the other members of the Titans care about having a movie made about them and are constantly reassuring Robin that he's a real hero and has nothing to prove to anyone, even going so far as to making a movie of their own about him using stop-motion cardboard animation.
South Park style.
Yeah.
Act 2, The Conflict.
Robin gets upset by the incredible gesture his friends made for him since it's not a real movie. So they head to Hollywood after an upbeat, inspirational song about life, which reinvigorates Robin. Also, they run over the singer of the song, who is a flamboyant tiger, played by Michael Bolton.
Yeah, shit like that. I liked it.
It's got some moments, for sure.
The kids aren't going to get that. It's for the adults. I mean, it's funny that he ran over the tiger.
Inspirational song about life.
When they slow down the jokes, great. But when they are pummeling you in the face, great.
I think his dad's a cop. Let's run.
That part did make me laugh. At Warner Brothers Studio, the Titans encounter Jade Wilson, a famous and influential director who has the power to make their dreams come true, and apparently is the only director that exists in this universe. Also, she never once has a crew of any kind, but I guess that's not really suspicious. Just ignore that.
It's funny that it's just her and Robin on a soundstage making his entire movie.
Yeah.
Later on.
The Titans attempt,
which isn't suspicious at all to Robin, I guess.
He doesn't know how Hollywood works.
He's never been in a movie.
Yeah. Just CGI and everybody else in the movie.
Yeah.
I guess.
The Titans attempt everything they can think of to impress Jade and convince her of their superhero credentials, but the Titans face competition from other, more established superheroes who already have their own movies. Yada, yada, yada. This rivalry adds a layer of satire to the film as it pokes fun at the superhero genre and the film industry's tendency to churn out sequels and spin-offs and nonstop drivel like the DCU. Also, Stan Lee shows up for a second before realizing it's a DC movie. Aside from the Marvel joke, I'm sure he was disgusted to be a part of the smallest DC production since DC has churned out wall-to-wall shit for 15 years. Quick fact, Stan Lee makes his first and only cameo in a DC movie as he passed away about 4 months after the release of this film.
Yeah. First, last, and only.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense in this one, though.
Yeah. At least it was in a decent DC movie.
Yeah, it wasn't in Aquaman or something.
Or Batman v Superman.
Wonder Woman 84, Justice League.
Pedro, you can't make every movie.
Blue
can't be a
Beetle.
blockbuster. Look, I'm supposed to be the target demo for that, and I want nothing to do with it. I don't want to sit there and watch 2 hours of George Lopez going. I can't even do it, dude.
It's like the Hispanic Oliver Platt.
It's so accurate.
Yeah, it is. Jesus. Anyways, after another song where Robin dreams about having his own movie, Jade Wilson says she'd only consider making a movie about Robin if he had an arch nemesis or if every other superhero that existed suddenly just disappeared. So, the Teen Titans, who are the good guys we're supposed to be rooting for, remember, decide to use some of the Time Machine big wheel stuff to snuff out every superhero out of existence. Or I guess save them from the tragedy that made all of the other heroes into superheroes in the first place. It's kind of depends on which character they're going after.
I will say that the songs are all pretty good, pretty solid.
Yeah. They did a great job with the music.
Did they do music in the TV show like that?
From what I watched, yeah.
Really?
Like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they make up songs. There's songs in like all of the
Yeah, I think so.
Teen Titans stuff.
But I don't know. I didn't watch a lot. I only watched the first episode.
Yeah.
Because my daughter wanted to keep watching superheroes, so I put that on. And the first episode is a parody of Star Wars and Star Trek and has Weird Al voicing Darkseid. So that's the kind of tone that the show goes for. That I was really surprised that you watched the very first episode of the show, and it's basically the same tone as the movie was 8 seasons later. So they know what they were doing.
They maintained it throughout.
Consistent, yeah.
No. I didn't really love them the first time around, I will say, the songs, but I actually really liked them the second time around when I was doing the breakdown.
Yeah.
Well, also meant that I could just skip like 5-10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. But I mean, that says something. You know how to compose music, so have some appreciation for the good job they did.
Yeah, solid stuff.
They start by saving Krypton from being destroyed, then kill Aquaman with some of those plastic ring things from a six-pack. They stop the Wayne family from going
Kill
down.
Aquaman as a baby, by the way.
Yeah.
As we've said before.
They murder a baby.
Baby Aquaman. Then they stop the Wayne family from going down Crime Alley, et cetera, et cetera. But when they get back to the present, they find out there are now only villains who are destroying everything. So they go back and undo everything they just did. So I guess the whole point of that sequence was just the joke about killing baby Aquaman, really.
Solid joke.
Quick fact. Young Bruce Wayne in this scene is played by Nick's son, Kal-El Cage.
Which is funny because he's named after Superman, and his dad is playing Superman in the movie, but he plays Batman.
Yeah, so when I read the credits, I got confused, and I was like, oh, he played Baby Superman? I'm like, that's kind of cute. And then I was like, wait, Baby Superman didn't have any lines. He just made baby noises. And then I was like, oh, it says Baby Bruce or Young Bruce Wayne. Okay.
And twerked, yeah.
You better count that nudity, by the way.
Is there nudity in it? Is there
nudity?
The
baby
butt. It shows the baby butt.
Yeah.
But it's
a lot.
I know you don't count animated nudity, but
yes, but I did count Ant-Man or Ant Bully's butt.
Yeah, so you better count it in this.
So
it's another baby's ass.
Count the baby butt.
Gotta count it. All right.
I never thought I'd say those words in my life.
Gotta count that baby butt.
God, I hope my neighbors can't hear me as they walk past the window.
I think at this point, almost the majority of male nudity in these movies have been from children now.
God, sometimes I really wish that we had never started counting nudity because
every time
it's
we
just
do
getting
that section,
creepier
I
now.
wish we had never done that fucking chapter.
Let's just skip over that. Ugh. Anyway.
All right. Once they fix their reality, we see Slade Stroke breaking into some sort of lab where he charges up the crystal he stole in Act 1. Slade, of course, represents Robin's ideal nemesis, a formidable opponent who could validate Robin's status as a hero. So he becomes obsessed with stopping him to prove he's worthy of a movie. Unbeknownst to the Titans, Slade has a hidden agenda to use his mind control device disguised as a movie projector to take over the world. Wow, look at they sync up so perfectly. Okay, I do kind of like how like they just beat you over the head, which is how nonsense this whole fucking premise is. Robin's single-minded pursuit of fame and glory puts a strain on his relationships with his teammates, who begin to question Robin's motives and leadership when Slade gets away. After escaping, Slade makes a plan to divide the Titans, and suddenly, out of nowhere, Jade Wilson is super into the idea of making a Teen Titans movie. Unfortunately, she gets upset when every member of the team besides Robin poops in a prop toilet, and she tells Robin that they're going to be big stars as long as the other members of the team don't get into any more shenanigans, which they immediately do, including prank calling Superman to steal craft service food.
And
Lois,
they beat up
baby.
Shia LaBeouf.
And they beat up Shia LaBeouf.
Who was voiced by James Arnold Taylor.
Who apparently they tried to get Shia LaBeouf and he didn't want to, he was like busy or something.
In rehab.
I think he was actually supposed to be in the movie and then he pulled out and they had to reanimate the face to make it not Shia LaBeouf.
But they kept the joke.
But they kept the joke. I don't know.
I mean, it's a funny joke, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like when they find out he's actually Shia LaBeouf, they just start beating him harder.
The non-Robin members of the team tried to destroy a rocket-looking thing with the words Doomsday Device written on it, but are stopped by other real superheroes. Jade fires the teens after they spray kryptonite in Superman's face, prompting Robin to say, "Why did you do that? He's a national treasure." Get it? Because it's Nick that plays Superman, and he was in National Treasure 1 and 2. You guys remember those films?
Unfortunately.
Jade says the Doomsday Device the Titans try to destroy is actually a device to beam movies directly to every screen on the planet, and Doomsday is an acronym that I'm too lazy to write out. She tells
I forget
Robin
what it was, but it was like really complicated.
Yeah,
and I was like, no, I'm not going to write that out.
She tells Robin she now plans to make a movie all about him instead of the Teen Titans, since they're all a bunch of immature doofuses, and he decides to ditch the team, who have stood by him through everything since they make him look like a joke. He excitedly starts working on his superhero movie, since being a famous movie star is worth more than friendship, but he gets sad when he starts thinking about his Teen Titan pals. Jade Wilson convinces him to film the final scene of the movie. Anyways, this all turns out to be a ruse to get him to break into the Teen Titan vault and return the crystal to Slade, who has been pretending to be Jade Wilson this whole time. That's Slade reveals his diabolical plan, which was to get all the other superheroes to make movies instead of fighting crime, so he could steal valuable pieces from their cities to construct the Doomsday Device, which he plans to use to stream to every device in the world, brainwashing every person on Earth to do whatever he wants.
Act 3. Time to resolve some shit.
Slade Pool blows up the Titans hangout, and Robin realizes the error of his ways and what a dick he's been to his friends. Once he narrowly escapes the crumbling building, he calls the Titans to assemble, or whatever they're allowed to say, and they show up seconds later to immediately forgive him. The Titans head to Hollywood to face off against Slade, but he fires up the Doomsday Device. The device affects everyone on Earth, including all these superheroes in the audience, which strangely not one of them has resistance to mind control. Feels like that should be in the power set of at least a couple of them in there. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the only people aren't affected are the Titans because they didn't look at the screen. There's nobody in, like somebody wasn't in the bathroom or something coming in late. That would have been a funny joke.
I mean, if you go to the bathroom, you're looking at the phone, you know.
That's true.
That's just how everybody is nowadays.
Yeah. And this ragtag group of D-list heroes now has to battle an army of superheroes that are all under Slade's control. The Titans escape the might of every superhero on Earth by jumping into a golf cart, blowing up all of Batman's vehicles one by one, and then sending all the heroes into a portal of some sort of limbo dimension.
Constantly used joke of like portal.
Yeah, like Raven has the power that can solve pretty much anything that they run into.
Pretty much,
and then they do. They just use it in everything.
Yep. Oh, because I keep forgetting about that. Yeah, let's do it.
Just send them to a different dimension.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty funny.
that other superhero group that they steal the seats of in the first premiere, that was apparently a real comic that existed before the Fantastic Four, but was sort of Stan Lee's idea, like originated from that group for the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, they're all just ripoffs.
Yeah.
They all rip each other off.
What was that? The challengers of the something?
Challengers of the unknown,
Of the
I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel
Fantastic
like DC
Four
fans
before
or
the
somebody
Fantastic
would
Four.
really love that joke. It went over my head, but I got the joke was that they were an old group that was forgotten, and then it was funny. And they
but
kept
they
like
were
shitting
more
on them through
important
the
than
rest
the
of the
Teen
movie.
Titans.
Yeah. Well, yada, yada, yada. The resolution of Act 3 revolves around the Titans' realization that being a hero is not about having a movie or fame, but about doing good and making a positive impact on the world, you know. This theme is underscored by Robin's character arc as he learns to prioritize his relationships with his teammates over his own ego and ambitions. The final confrontation with Slade starts with Robin taking him on solo, but he gets his ass handed to him since, of course, he needs the team to succeed, since friendship and teamwork and all that jazz, you get the picture. Also, all Robin seems to do is fire a grappling hook. And once Slade just cuts the grappling hook, then it's like, oh, he's out of tricks.
Yeah.
He has not batarangs that he throws, I guess. But
Robberangs.
Robin is brainwashed by Slade since he can't help but watch the movie about himself. But the Titans remind him how much they all care about him by showing him the rest of the stop-motion movie that they made for him, which brings Robin out of the trance. And as a team, they battle Slade, who is now on a giant mech robot suit of some sort. Which I also think was a funny comic book meta commentary of just throw a giant CG monster battle at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Even though it actively messes the pacing up and ruins the movie. Shang-Chi.
Or name every DC movie.
And a handful of Marvel ones at this point.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
He calls them all jokes again, and Robin says he's right, but he's proud to be a Teen Titan since it's their goofiness that makes them all great, and they use the power of song to defeat him. They sing the same theme song again, describing all their powers, but this time they actually use their powers as a team.
I loved, this song actually kicked ass when it came in. The second time around.
It was pretty good. With their powers combined, they become Captain Planet. Actually, they probably would make that joke, but they didn't. But you could see them. They would do it. But anyway, they don't. I mean, they slowly beat the robot down and they blow up the magic crystal thing that was brainwashing everyone. Once released from the dark dimension, the other superheroes are all impressed with what the Titans did, and Superman says, I guess you weren't such goofsters after all. The other heroes all clap for them, and the Titans, at long last, feel the validation they craved. Oh, and they also set up a sequel that became Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans in the credits that thankfully Nick Cage wasn't in. The end.
If you're anything like me while watching Teen Titans Go to the movies, you probably thought to yourself at least once, they're right. All those other heroes do have their own movies. Maybe I should turn this off and go watch one of those movies instead. Thankfully, you can find a massive selection of superhero movies over on lovedagainmedia.com. Loved Again Media has an incredible library of movies starting at just $4 for DVDs and $5 for Blu-rays and TV box sets, so you're sure to find something that you're into. Head over to lovedagainmedia.com and get an extra 15% off their already low prices by entering our promo code ONECAGE at checkout.
It's time to keep track. Here are the final stats.
All right, we're going to skip questions and go straight to the trackers. So what was the Cage curse tracker for this one?
0. He's playing Superman. Like, you expect him to swear?
Exactly.
It would have been awesome if he dropped the F-bomb.
I mean, kind of,
you guys are
expect
fucking
him to,
goofsters.
Or the C-bomb.
Just out of nowhere. Which they did make like a Teen Titans show that was pretty adult, right? There was one that came out recently.
No, the live action one, Titans.
Yeah.
That was the one that had "fuck Batman" in the trailer.
Yeah, they dropped it in the trailer to show you this isn't your kids' Teen Titans.
It's edgy, Robin.
It's edgy.
I really want to see like a Robin arc where we actually go through him becoming Nightwing. Like, I would love to see like start out with like if Robin could show up in the current Batman series, like the new ones, and then he becomes Death or Nightwing. I would love to see that at some point. I don't feel like it's ever been adapted like properly. They did it in I think it was the Red Hood comic that was like straight to HBO or whatever, which was really good. But that's the only time I've seen it done.
That's the thing about this DC stuff, and this movie too kind of shows that there's a ton of potential and stories that are really good, and they've done really good adaptations of. And it's all animated, and it's like they just sort of squander it when it comes to live action.
For some reason, they don't want to cross the streams of the comic book writers and the movie writers, which is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard.
They love David S. Goyer and his fucking
just have him write everything for some reason.
Terrible.
Anyways, runtime on this one was mercifully 84 minutes. Not to say it was bad. It was just, it's fast. Superman is in it for 5 seconds. We kind of had to move on.
It was a good tight 84 minutes.
Definitely keeping their audience in mind for this one. Nudity, I guess we did have one baby butt. We set the precedent in Ant Bully that if the whole movie's animated and there's nudity, then I guess we got to count it.
Yeah.
So that brings us up to 12 butts. I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on quickly. State and Country Tracker, this was in Jump City, which I don't know where that's supposed to be. I'm assuming that it's supposed to be near Gotham, which is supposedly New York, but I don't know.
But then they go to the Warner Brothers lot, which is in California.
It's in
So
maybe Jump City's in LA. I don't know.
But
then Robin works with Batman in Gotham. So anyways, we'll move on. Budget versus gross. $10 million budget with a $52.1 million gross, which is a substantial paycheck that they got out of this thing. And still, I think, like I said, $10 million seems pretty low.
But they probably have that. I mean, you got to think the show had been running for how long? So they probably have that all dialed in.
Yeah.
So they're operating at peak efficiency.
Yeah, and you probably, I don't know. I'm guessing that most of these cameos were scale and they just wanted to do it for fun.
$5,000 or whatever it is. Pay for
so
a day.
it cost them a lot to have them show up and do those voices.
Probably had to pay Michael Bolton more than you had to pay Nick Cage. And that brings our grand total up to $1.5 billion on the budget with a $3.976.3 billion gross. We are almost at $4 billion.
It's crazy. Say what you will. He has made Hollywood a lot of money.
Yes, he has.
Or he's been a part of a lot of, profitable films.
Yeah. And we still have a lot of the bigger budget films to go, those late 90s films and stuff. On our top grossing, this is sandwiched between, weirdly, the Ant Bully and Astro Boy.
Wait, it made which one?
Ant Bully made 55.2, Astro Boy made 42.
But they had like way
Huge
higher
budget.
budgets, right?
Oh, way bigger budgets.
They were both flops.
Yeah, they
Ant Bully, if I remember right, Ant Bully was 50 million and Astro Boy was 65. So those were huge flops. This is the opposite of a flop. This was definitely a profitable film. And it's kind of weird that they didn't release another one in the theater because they have a proven track record now that they can make money off of it.
It may have just not made enough.
I think COVID stopped that because you got to remember this was 2018, 2019. So
if they had another one in the works,
which they did because they had Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. That probably would have came out in theaters had it not been for COVID.
Yeah.
Did they release that onto their streaming platform then? I'm trying to remember. Because this was right before all that streaming, or this is while streaming was about to explode. This movie was made, and that's why it's a plot point with the Doomsday device.
Probably would have been Max because
and HBO or Warner Brothers was really trying to get their streaming platform to work before it failed like 4 times.
Yeah,
and I ended up watching this movie on Disney Plus. Ironically,
I think
enough.
Max is like bundled with Hulu now or something like that. Or is going to
this
be.
was on Disney Plus because it's on Hulu. So, ironically,
Yeah,
enough.
well, HBO is whoring out their IPs again to everybody else to
'cause it's
try to
more
recoup
profitable.
a bunch of lost revenue that they have had over the years.
Yeah.
Ratings. This was our 9th PG film, which is catching up pretty close to PG-13 now. So, yeah. I feel like the PGs are going to end once we're done with these animated films.
Yeah, I was going to say we're getting through all the animated stuff. So that's probably about it for these.
Yeah. And that leads us over to the Cage Kill Tracker.
Again, super easy. 0 kills. Zero
Superman didn't kill anybody?
I mean, he's not Zack Snyder's Superman.
Yeah, he's not Zack Snyder. Otherwise, he would
Not-
snapping necks.
Not hobo.
I'm really surprised
Superman.
they didn't make a joke about that. But
Yeah, I did love that joke about Batman v Superman. What's your mother's name?
Oh,
okay. What's your dad's name?
what's your dad's name?
Jonathan.
John. Mine was Wayne. Or whatever his dad's name is. I can't remember. Yeah, so
what the hell
0
is his
and
name?
0. So we're still sitting.
Thomas.
Oh, yeah, Thomas. So we're still sitting at 202 for kills and 14 deaths, which still blows my mind that he's only died 14 times in all the movies we've done.
Only.
I mean, that's a lot. I think
That's a lot.
That's a lot more than most actors do.
That's a
if
high
they're headlining
percentage
movies.
of 50 some odd films.
I don't know. I
Like
feel like
1/5.
So, what did you think? Let's rank this film on the Cageometer.
All right, that leads us over to the most important question that we ask. Vince, where does Teen Titans Go to the movies from 2018 rate on your Cageometer?
All right, so the film, I know I was critical in the early parts of our conversation, and I am pretty critical of this film. That being said, this isn't a movie that was made for me, so I can't seriously sit here and judge it harshly, especially since, again, it's a kid's movie, right? So I think you look at the overall film, I have to give it a 6. It's not a great film. It's not a terrible film. I can see why it did so well, especially with kids, and I can see why the series does so well with kids. I loved a lot of what saved it for me is I love just the amount of detail they put into the background, especially at the movie theater, like we're talking about. I mean, just all the little posters that they had, and throughout, there was just a lot of Easter eggs peppered in there. And I think that I love when companies do that because it pays a lot of homage to the history that they're working with. And for adults in a film like this, it brings some chuckles. Plus, they did have some good jokes in there, like you said, when they ran over Michael Bolton and take off. My biggest problem with the film, and it's my biggest criticism of a lot of this generation's humor, is it's just joke. And I kept getting a lot of Adventure Time feel, but executed poorly. Like, I don't know if there's any crossover with the writers, but I feel like Adventure Time, again, not super into that humor, but at least it fits that, you know, they created that universe with their humor, and it works really well. And I don't really feel like that type of humor works well here, at least for me. Story wise, I mean, it's just another typical superhero story. I think for kids, there's a good message there, especially coming up in today's society where it seems like everybody wants to be a TikTok star or an Instagram influencer or a YouTube star. To remember that fame is not the most important thing you can experience in life, and you really should value the relationships you have, especially when you have a solid group of friends who goes out of their way to try to make you feel better when you're down. So I really did like that message, and those things are what saved it for me. So 6 for the film. For Cage, again, it's like he's barely in it. I thought this was a better voice performance than Aunt Bully. And that movie's very fresh in our mind for a particular reason. I'll give him a 5. I mean, you can't give him anything. I feel like I can't give him anything better than that because his performance didn't add or detract. It was just middle of the road, but that's due to his screen time, right? I do think that they gave him one of the best lines when they're in the movie theater and he throws that little jab about Robin just being a sidekick. That was funny and it made me laugh. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I wish we got more from him. But it is what it is. So a 6 for the movie, 5 for Mr. Cage.
He finally got to play Superman. That's all he really wanted.
Yeah,
I don't think he really felt like he needed to add any lines. He just wanted to play Superman one time.
I mean, at least he got to speak in this one. He didn't have dick all to say in the Flash.
Well, apparently they didn't even use the stuff they filmed for him in the Flash.
Exactly. No, they didn't.
Just CG'd the
they
entire
threw it all
thing.
away and went with that creepy ass CGI.
Nigel, where does Teen Titans Go to the Movies rate on your Cageometer?
I like this movie. I was really surprised that you guys hated it as much as it seemed like you were. Well,
hate is a strong word.
But
hate's a strong film.
I thought I kept a pretty good lid on it, but I was going to say that I really liked it. I'm trying to be objective about it because it is not quite a movie for me. But what they're trying to do, they're following the formula that worked really well for the show that people really like. I mean, like I said, it's got 8 seasons, which is a lot for an animated show, especially in this day and age. And I don't know how many movies they've made aside from this for it, but it really feels like it was a solid effort from that team and has carried a through line with how the show's. I mean, the show's. It's basically jokes, like you said. It's that Adventure Time Cartoon Network formula of nonstop jokes, but also but cleverly parodying stuff. It's kind of like it reminds me a lot of the Animaniacs, which I didn't like as a kid. I love that show. I would probably like it more now as an adult because I kind of like that meta-referential parody stuff that this movie does, and I think Animaniacs did a lot of that. But as a kid, I thought Animaniacs was too zany, and it was kind of that frenetic jokes per minute thing, which I didn't like as much when I was younger.
It wasn't, but it wasn't as frenetic. It was zany.
Yeah, it's definitely.
In their theme song. They let the jokes breathe, and a lot of their jokes are pretty intellectual. I mean, they were making references that went over most kids' heads. I mean, talking about previous. I mean, they make like a fucking Reagan joke at one point. Like, as a kid, you're like, oh, I don't know who the fuck it is, but it's funny. Yeah,
so I don't know. Maybe it's because I have ADHD that's undiagnosed, but this kind of, I've also
Dr. WebMD.
I mean, I've watched a lot of children's programming, and a lot of it is garbage compared to this. So I might have a different perspective than you guys have.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah.
100%.
So this movie is entertaining, I think, for kids. It's entertaining for adults, even if you don't really care about the dumb fart jokes and stuff. Like you said, there's stuff you can look at in the background of all the time you've seen. There's little jokes peppered in there. There's visual gags. It never lingers on stuff to its detriment, but I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Honestly, for what it set out to do. The music's great. The writing's whatever. You got to remember the audience for this is probably 10-year-olds, and then also adults who were 10 years old when the show came out and watched it, and stuff. And I think it hits both of those and keeps people in all of those age ranges happy. My kid kind of liked some of it. It's hard to catch her attention about stuff, but we finished the movie and she said she wanted to keep watching superheroes. So we put the show on, and that's why I watched the first episode of the show. And it's got that same vibe to it. It makes fun of pop culture, makes fun of comic stuff, makes fun of itself. And it has, snappy writing and the voice acting's all good. So yeah.
Well, now you get 8 seasons of it you can watch with her.
I don't think I will, but like I said, it's not like I don't like
it. He's giving it an 8 out of 10, but he won't watch the show.
Well, that's what I mean. Like I'm trying to be objective. I think for what it was, it was as it's on its own, what it's trying to deliver as its own standalone product. I think it did a great job of it. Lingering a lot on the poop and fart jokes, and some of the stuff was kind of between the second and the third act, weirdly kind of was boring, for a thing that's so frenetic, which is why I pulled it down from like a perfect score, and I can't give it like a perfect score for it, but it's the best animated movie we've watched so far, in my opinion, until Spider-Man.
Until Spider-Man,
but yeah, I mean, it's great, and it's mercifully short. It's fun. It's a fun movie, especially if you like pop culture and you like comic books and comic book movies. It felt like it's poking fun at not just DC stuff, which it is, poking fun at DC film efforts, but just the comic book genre as a whole, as it was in 2018, where you had, it's weirdly, it felt like it's poking more fun at the Marvel success than the DC success, but it's never like in mean spirited. I think it makes Marvel jokes, but they're never like, Marvel sucks. It's like making jokes about like, yeah, people like this stuff. Like, hey, you guys are the Guardians of the Galaxy. We recognize that because we like Guardians of the Galaxy. And they're like, no, we're the Teen Titans. Why does nobody know who you are?
I liked the opening where they were like flipping through the comic.
Yeah,
like
just
it was
like
the
a Marvel
thing.
Yeah.
Wait, that's something else. No.
Yeah, so you get the sense that it's a love letter from the creators of it, and they really, like making this. They like comics. They like comic book movies across the spectrum. They know what it's like to be in the Hollywood system, even though they make kids show cartoons. So they're making fun of that. And yeah, it's a solid movie. And it seems like a lot of people enjoyed it as well, particularly younger fans and fans of the Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just with kids movies. I don't know. This is where I come from, and it's like there are so many great, and Pixar. I mean, fuck, I'll just go to Pixar, and even Disney has elevated their animated stuff. There are so many really good kids movies out there that I guess maybe just because of the type of humor, that's why it fell short for me. But I tried. Yeah. I really was trying not hard to beat it up. It's not a movie for me, and like you said, there are a lot of moments in this film that definitely were enjoyable because it did feel like it was geared for an adult audience, and having the history with DC that I have, I did like some of those jokes that they were putting in there. But yeah, there are really good kid movies out there, and I just feel like this one doesn't meet those standards.
True. I mean, I'm not going to we're going to stack it up against Into the Spider-Verse, but they're not on the same caliber, and I don't think it's trying to be. I think it's trying to execute on the formula you wouldn't take a show like the Animaniacs and put that up against I don't know, Wall-E or something. Like they just feel like completely different arenas, But
I would put it up against Breaking Bad, which I feel like Breaking Bad stole a lot of themes from the Animaniacs.
I guess. I mean, that's an episode. I suppose you can do that. I don't know if I'm voicing what I'm trying to say, but I don't know. I felt like the vibe of this movie fit perfectly with what it was doing. So I don't know. It just worked for me. It's not something that's like fantastic that I would normally want to watch more of, but I probably will as my kids get older. And I wouldn't mind tossing that on because there's enough jokes that adults would get that it's like, that's pretty funny. Like the first episode, like I said, they had Darkseid in it, but he's voiced by Weird Al. So it's like, which is just funny to me because you take one of the, most grim, dark villains in DC, and it's like, it's just Weird Al doing the voice. So it's like, it's funny. Okay, get into Cage's performance. It's like a 5 again. It's the same thing that we've just said. This feels like another one where it's just Cage reading lines for a day, and he's not really. I kind of wonder if this is like maybe it's a good thing we didn't get him playing Superman in the 90s because I really don't know what it would have looked like. Like. He doesn't sound like Superman in this movie. He sounds like Nicolas Cage, which is the joke. I mean, that's the joke for any adult who knows that Nicolas Cage is supposed to play Superman. He gets to play Superman. You could have got a more traditional sounding Clark Kent Superman voice actor if you were just going to have him play as Superman. So, but it's just Nick Cage. Like it's kind of distracting once you get over that's funny. It's Nick Cage playing Superman. Like he's in it more than I thought he would be in it. And then every time he talks, it's just sort of like, oh, okay, it's just Nick Cage reading lines in a booth. So I mean, 5. It's not bad. It's not great. I don't know what else you can get. You can't really give him a lower score. You can't give him a higher score because he's not a main character and he was just doing what they told him to do. And again, the joke was Nick Cage playing Superman. So
yeah,
I get that. That's it.
Much better score than I expected with 8 out of 10. On my Cageometer, I'm going to give the movie a 6. Even after having the, like I said, I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse that I have to watch these movies scene by scene in order to do the breakdowns. But I ended up liking the movie a lot more the second time around, but I still feel like I'm going to give it a 6 just because it's so frenetic and really just like wall to wall, just like nonstop. Like it's just go, finish. Even at the end, like they didn't even let the like final speech breathe before Robin was like making a joke about asking where babies come from and shit. Like at the very end, and I don't know. It's just not for me, but I really appreciate. Like I feel like it's a great satire of Hollywood in general. The music was great. The animation is beautiful and amazing. Like you said, the background jokes are great. They did a great job with all of the characters and stuff, the designs and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's, coming from the TV show, which I'm kind of surprised that they haven't had Deathstroke in the TV series up to this point, or maybe they just pretended that they hadn't met Deathstroke before, but they say like they had never met Slade up to this point. So it's kind of amazing that they went 8 seasons without having Deathstroke.
It probably is just like you can't have a character named Deathstroke in a show for 7-year-olds.
Yeah,
it's just too harsh. And he's a contract killer, as far as I know. So it's like,
It's kind of like the Red Hood too, It's like you can't really put that character in.
Yeah, Red Hood has only appeared in the animated movies. He was never in the animated show.
But ultimately, I mean, I think the movie is pretty solid. I mean, they definitely accomplished what they set out to do, and like for the most part, I think it's great. It's just it's just very, very frenetic, and the whole movie is just one big satire, and they do have the emotion there, but it's like so stomped on by jokes that it's just kind of like, I don't know, it just kind of muddles its own. I won't say message, but like it muddles the emotion. You don't get a chance to breathe.
Yeah. The message, I feel like if you really are paying attention, the message never gets muddled or there's nothing taken away from that. But the emotional piece of it definitely is.
Whereas like, not to compare it to, the next movie that we're talking about, but Into the Spider-Verse, they let the emotion sit and it does such a good job with that. And that it's hard to compare that because it's like that's a masterpiece. Dude.
Yeah, and I think it's just the intended audience and the vibe. I don't know what the intended audience is for Teen Titans Go, but I'm assuming it's skewed younger than what you get out of Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. So, it's definitely not for me. Obviously, Spider-Verse is for us, as adults.
Yeah. Yep.
But I think kids can also enjoy it. But at the same time, it's probably a little bit more boring and a little goes over their heads a lot more than this. This is just joke, finish. And that's good for a little kid audience. And it gives you something to watch as an adult. And I think that's exactly what it was intended to do. And that's exactly what it did. But I can't really like give it better than like a 6. Personally. Yeah. As far as Cage, I'm just 5. Like he's not even in it. What he is in is just so flat and dull that it's just kind of like, just Cage showed up.
Yeah.
Which we're at what 5 out of the 7. 8. 6 out of the 8 because we got to include Christmas Carol. Unfortunately. And so we got 6 out of the 8. Now, so far he's played 1 character in those 6 movies. So I mean, I guess Grug in Groods, but still, that's just Cage.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Caveman Cage.
It's a bit of a disappointment going through all of these movies in order of how little effort Cage has given to most of these, and I don't know.
It's even more disappointing given fucking G-Force because who would have thought that G-Force is the one that he actually turned in a performance where it's like, he can he can play a voice acting character.
Something, I sometimes wonder, like we've said, is it just the direction? Is it just them? Like we want it to be recognizable as you so that we can bank on Nick Cage box office draw. I don't know. It's just like, why get a guy who can do great characters and never have him play a character? We're just about out. I feel like he plays a character in Into the Spider-Verse, which is great, but then he basically plays himself again in Croods 2, and we have no other animated films. So it's been kind of a disappointment. I wish that we had seen more actual characters in these cartoons out of Nick Cage, because I feel like what he's brilliant at, and never really got a chance to do it.
Yeah.
That's it for this episode of One Cage at a Time. As always, be sure to drop us an email at onecagepodcast to let us know if we missed anything, or hit us up with suggestions to improve the show, comments, compliments, or simply to gush about the legend that is Nicolas Cage. I feel like once we do back into the Cage, I don't think we're going to be able to go episode by episode, because there is just not enough. I feel like we've been so ridiculously exhaustive on these breakdowns and shit that there's not going to be enough for an episode of
unless
Back
it's
into the
something
Cage.
like the old way where like the writer's like, no, you missed this part, or this is some behind the scenes tidbit you should talk about.
Yeah, I feel like we could do a whole episode about that.
Yeah. And when it comes to that point, like hopefully if the episodes that we do want to go back into, we can try to get somebody involved to come talk to us about it.
Yeah, if you or anybody you know worked on any of the films in any capacity whatsoever, we would love to interview them for Back into the Cage when we ever have time for that, which we barely have time to do the actual show. So one of these days we'll get to that, and that show's going to be fun and very loose compared to this, but who knows if it'll ever happen. On our penultimate day of animated Cagemas, we'll be briefly chatting. Unfortunately, we can't do like a 3-hour episode about it, but we're going to talk about a movie that we all love, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We could spend 5 hours talking about that movie, but because Nick he doesn't show up till 60 some odd minutes in, and he's only in like 5 scenes, I feel like we have to kind of talk about it briefly and move on, unfortunately, so that we can talk about bigger movies like The Croods 2. But anyways, Nick cameos as an alternate universe version of Spider-Man Noir, where Nick finally puts his Humphrey Bogart impression to good use, unlike in Dog Eat Dog. But he only does it in a couple parts. But he's mostly just Nick being more of a leading man sounding Nick than Superman, weirdly.
Yeah.
And excitingly, Nick has agreed to do a live action version of Spider-Man Noir for Amazon that is currently in pre-production as we speak. Might actually be getting filmed as when this episode comes out. Who knows? I feel like it's going to come out next year at some point.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Cross my fingers they don't just cancel it.
Yeah, who knows, man?
If it comes out, they were hoping to get it out early 2025.
Yeah, seems like there's a lot of really good character-y actors who have signed on, who are going to be elevating the production. So I'm really excited about it if they treat it in the same vein as they did with Into the Spider-Verse, where they kind of treat it with respect, unlike when Sony makes movies about Spider-Man characters.
I really hope it's like a noir, like a noir detective story, and it's more grounded than we're anticipating.
Yeah,
hopefully, and it's supposed to be set in 1933. He's supposed to be battling Nazis. It should be amazing. I hope. I don't know. We'll see. Sony does not have a good track record aside from these Spider-Verse movies.
They do when it comes to TV shows. They produced Breaking Bad. They produced Better Call Saul. The Boys, like especially for Amazon. Like you look at a lot of Sony's shows, they've done a ton.
That's a good point. And I feel like it's not so much Sony, it's really Amazon that kind of has made them successful in this realm.
Different arenas, different creatives, different people handling different things.
They can't figure out movies in general. Jesus Christ. Like, I can't believe there's a third Venom coming out. I didn't even realize I thought that shit got canned.
For some reason, people like Venom. I mean, I've seen both those.
Tom Hardy, dude.
And that's kind of it. I think the first Venom's awful. Let There Be Carnage is kind of a guilty pleasure. I liked that one.
Really?
I saw that one in theater, but I mean, I
haven't watched it.
I'd be happy if that was it and there's just never any more, but they're making a third one, and who knows? Maybe the third one will be campy enough to be enjoyable.
It looks campy.
We'll see, man.
But you're right. It's Tom Hardy, basically, is the reason. He's just goofy.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I have high hopes for it, and I really hope it comes together because I think it could be really great. And like seeing Cage as a noir Spider-Man, a grizzled detective, and really being able to lean into that noir look and feel would be so cool. But we'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Anyways, make sure to check out Into the Spider-Verse wherever fine films are sold or on your streaming service of choice. Until then, we'll say goodbye the way we do each and every episode with our Nicolas Cage quote of the film.
They only make movies about real heroes.
I am a real hero. I even have my own superhero team.
You guys are goofsters.
Thanks for listening to One Cage at a Time. Visit us online at onecageatatime.com or follow us on the social media platform of your choice for more Nicolas Cage goodness. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you really like the show, become a member of our Patreon where you can download unedited and ad-free episodes, as well as listen to our follow-up show, Back Into the Cage, where we re-examine each movie to discuss what we missed the first time around, answer listener questions, and wax poetic about the man, the myth, the legend that is Nicolas Cage.
It's an upbeat inspire.
Yeah! I think his dad is a cop!
Run!